They called it home, but it felt more like a prison, one where the bars were invisible, made not of iron but of guilt. You were born there, not as a free spirit, but as a project, a reflection of someone else's expectations, their fears, their unresolved past. "I love you," they said, right before placing a chain around your throat. This is not love. This is training. Training to obey. Training to feel guilty. Training to die slowly while smiling. And if you're still watching this, it's because something inside you is already starting to rebel. Good. That part of you is sacred. Do not betray it. I want you to do something now. I want you to write, in the comments below, the city from which you are hearing my voice, not for me, but so the world knows how far this truth is traveling. Let it echo, from Berlin to Bogota, from Sao Paulo to Seville. Let it be known, the age of silent sons and obedient daughters is ending. And if you're brave enough to hear what comes next, then like this video and stay with me. What I'm about to say will not comfort you. It will unmask what you once called love. You were not born to obey, you were programmed to. That's different. They told you obedience was love, that silence was respect, that sacrifice was virtue. Lies wrapped in lullabies. They didn't raise you, they formatted you. Every "be a good boy," every "don't answer back," every "do it for the family" was a brick in the wall of your own prison. You were taught that pleasing others was the path to being loved, but that was the path to becoming invisible. And now you wonder why your desires feel like sins, why your voice trembles when you say no. Simple, because you were never allowed to be you, only who they needed you to be. If these words are slicing through something inside you, then let the wound speak. Hit the like button now, not for vanity, but for rebellion. Every like is a crack in the mask they forced you to wear. A digital declaration, I am no longer the family's puppet. If you dare to keep going, hold tight, because the next truth is about guilt and how it was never yours to carry. Guilt, that sacred weapon of the manipulator. It doesn't scream, it sighs. It doesn't punish, it whispers, "After all I've done for you." And like a spell, you kneel, you hesitate. You cancel your plans. You betray your own joy just to keep the illusion alive. The illusion of being a good son, a good daughter, a grateful child. But let me ask, you grateful for what? For the freedom you never had? For the dreams they ridiculed? For the love that came with conditions, silence, and emotional blackmail? Gratitude should rise from freedom, not from fear. You are not in debt to anyone who suffocates your soul and calls it parenting. You owe nothing to those who made you small so they could feel big. That is not family. That is a cult with blood ties. And yet, every time you set a boundary, guilt claws at your chest like a trained animal. That voice in your head, it isn't yours. It was planted there. You were taught to feel guilty for existing outside the script. But here's the truth no one dares say. Love should not require self-betrayal. Affection should not demand amputation. The ones who truly love you want your expansion, not your submission. So if guilt is the rope holding you hostage, cut it. Sharpen your silence. Let them choke on the absence they created when they tried to own you. Because until you choose yourself, fully, fiercely, unapologetically, you are not alive, you are only available. Comparison, the silent poison served at every family dinner. Why can't you be more like your cousin? Your brother never talks back. Look at how much your sister sacrifices. These aren't observations. They are executions, slow, elegant, dressed in tradition. The goal isn't to inspire, it's to amputate. Every comparison is a scalpel that slices your singularity and stitches someone else's mask onto your face. They don't want you. They want a version of you that makes them comfortable, proud, or superior. But here's what they never say. The cousin they idolize is miserable, the obedient sibling is empty, and the one who never disappointed simply never dared. Comparison is not guidance, it's warfare. It's how they break you without touching you, and after they've compared you enough times, they hand you the final weapon of your own destruction, the belief that to be loved, you must bleed. If you don't sacrifice, you're selfish. If you don't destroy yourself for them, you're ungrateful. That's their gospel, suffering as proof of loyalty. But listen to me carefully. That is not love. That is emotional vampirism, masked as virtue. If someone only loves the version of you that suffers for them, then they do not love, they consume. And you were not born to be consumed. You were born to burn, to radiate, to overflow, to expand. Let no one chain your flame to their shadow. Let no one call your annihilation a gesture of affection. You wanted to belong, of course you did, every child does, but they sold you a lie, that to belong, you must comply, that to be loved, you must disappear just enough to not threaten the comfort of others. So you smiled when you were hurting, you nodded when you disagreed, you shrank again and again until the reflection in the mirror became unrecognizable. That is how the fear of rejection operates, not with violence, but with invitation. Be like us, they say, so we won't abandon you. But what kind of love needs you to vanish to survive? If the price of belonging is your own betrayal, then it is not belonging. It is captivity. And the one who chooses exile over submission, that is the one who is truly free. And when for a moment you try to reclaim yourself, when you raise your voice or speak your truth, the family reacts not with curiosity, but with alarm. Because now you are dangerous. Now you are unpredictable. So they do what manipulators always do. They provoke you. They trigger your old wounds, your guilt, your need to explain. And the moment you react emotionally, they win. Every tear, every raised voice, every justification becomes their proof that you are the problem. Don't fall for it. Don't explain. Don't defend. The true master does not wrestle in the mud. He lets the mud stain itself. Silence is your fortress. Withdraw with dignity. Watch how loud they become when they realize they can no longer control your peace. They'll call you cold, distant, heartless. Good. Let them. They mistake your emotional restraint for cruelty because they were never taught the difference between availability and affection. They confuse bleeding for caring, but Machiavel knew it. I knew it. And now you must know it. To survive in a world of emotional parasites, you must become selective with your soul. Virtue is not violence. It is the art of withholding what is sacred from those who would profane it. Say no without guilt. Disengage without apology. Frieza emotional is not lack of feeling. It is the highest form of clarity. The spirit that says enough is not cruel. It is clean. And then comes the silence. Oh, the blessed, unbearable silence. To the manipulator, it is a mirror too sharp to look into. They speak, you do not answer. They provoke, you remain unmoved. They cry, scream, dramatize. And you? You build an empire inside yourself. In a world addicted to noise, silence is rebellion. It is dominance without confrontation. It is presence without permission. The one who does not react controls the tempo. The one who does not speak becomes the voice in their heads. Remember, power doesn't need to prove itself. It needs only to remain still while the rest burns itself trying to touch it. And when silence isn't enough, act, but act without announcement. Threats are the tools of the insecure. If you keep doing this, I'll leave. If you don't change, I'll cut you off. Empty noise. Those who truly hold power don't threaten, they deliver. You don't need to explain your boundaries, you need to enforce them. Let them feel your absence. Let them taste the consequences of their own manipulation. A lion does not warn the prey before striking. Be the lion. Don't argue, don't negotiate. Act. Action teaches what 1,000 emotional speeches never could. One boundary enforced is louder than a lifetime of begging to be respected. But what if you still have to be there? What? If the bloodline demands proximity, then learn this art. The art of being present without being possessed. Attend the gathering, but remain whole. Speak, but never explain. Smile, but from a place of sovereignty, not submission. This is diplomacy, not devotion. You are no longer the child they can guilt into obedience. You are a sovereign entity now, and your presence, when unchained, is more disruptive than your absence ever was. Be the one who walks into the room and reminds them, without a word, that they no longer own you. That is presence, that is power. There comes a moment, inevitable, sacred, when you must kill the version of yourself they created, the obedient child, the guilt-ridden adolescent, the adult who still flinches when the phone rings. That version of you was never you, it was their blueprint, their projection, their convenience. And yes, it will feel like death, because it is a death. the death of the slave within. But only through that funeral can the real life begin, the life where your voice is not borrowed, where your steps are not calculated to avoid conflict, where you exist, finally, as a being unchained. Burn the script, mourn the illusion, and rise, not as a rebel, but as the rightful author of your own name. And when you do, they will feel it. Oh, they will feel it. Your mother will call you distant. Your father will say you've changed. Your siblings will ask what happened to you. But let's be honest. What really happened is that you stopped being their reflection. You stopped contorting yourself into the image they needed to stay comfortable. And now they panic because your freedom is a mirror, and in it they see their own chains. Expect the backlash, the guilt trips, the attempts to drag you back into the old dance. Don't fall for it. Their love was never for you. It was for your compliance. And when compliance dies, so does their illusion of control. Let me tell you a secret the weak will never understand. Love is not sacrifice. Love is recognition, and recognition can only happen between equals. The jailer cannot love the prisoner. The manipulator cannot love the puppet. They can use, they can depend, they can possess, but they cannot love. Real love is a conversation between sovereign beings. It begins where dependency ends. It blossoms when there is no need to shrink, to explain, to beg. The moment you demand to be treated as an equal, the illusion of love many families cling to begins to dissolve. And yes, they will resist, because it's easier to adore a mirror than to face another free soul with its own light. So let this be your new creed. I will no longer be loved in exchange for obedience. I will no longer be accepted at the cost of my essence. If you love me whole. If you cannot, I'd rather walk alone than crawl in company. Let them adjust, let them evolve, or let them watch you from a distance they created themselves. This is not arrogance. This is dignity rediscovered. And when someone says you've changed, smile, because they're right. You've become dangerous to the lie that held your family together. You've become the one thing they feared, an individual. They will call this selfishness. They always do, because the truly free man terrifies those still in chains. But make no mistake, this is not selfishness. This is soulhood. You are not here to be understood by those who refuse to understand themselves. You are not here to perform rituals of loyalty that destroy your joy. You are not here to sacrifice your fire so others can stay warm in their emotional winter. You were born to burn, not politely, not quietly, but intensely. To live in truth is to disappoint those who thrive on illusion. Let them call you names. Let them weaponize the past. That is all they have left. You have the future. The cycle ends with you, if you choose. You are not condemned to repeat the emotional theater passed down like an heirloom. You are not obligated to carry the guilt your parents carried. You are not a continuation. You are a disruption. You are the one who says, no more. And that no is sacred. It is the sound of awakening, of walls cracking, of ghosts losing their grip. Because when one member of a family wakes up, the whole system trembles. You don't need their permission to be whole. You only need your own decision. The moment you choose truth over peace, you have already won. And yes, some will stay. Some will meet the new you. With awe instead of resistance. Some will rise to match your integrity. And to them you offer not submission but alliance, not sacrifice but presence. Relationships born from freedom are rare and therefore sacred. They are not built on guilt, debt, or unspoken contracts. They are built on clarity. I am here because I want to be, not because I have to be. That sentence, that sacred declaration, is the birth of a true bond. When two sovereign souls look at each other and say, I see you, not as a role, not as a function, but as a flame, then love finally begins. But until that happens, you must walk alone. And that is not punishment, it is preparation. The solitude you feared as a child is the crucible of your becoming. In that silence, you will hear yourself again. In that stillness, you will remember who you were before you were named. Do not rush to reconnect. Do not seek premature forgiveness. Let the fire purify. Let the distance heal. The man who cannot be alone will always be owned. But the one who learns to enjoy his own company becomes untouchable. That is the paradox. Solitude does not isolate you. It crowns you. They told you family was everything, but they never told you that you are not everything to them, only what you provide. Emotional labor, silence, applause, obedience. The moment you stop performing, you become a threat. That's the truth no one dares to say. Family can be sacred, but only when it respects your sacredness. Otherwise, it's just a herd where wolves dress as caretakers and call it love. And you were born a lion, not to belong to the herd, but to make it tremble. When the child becomes the master of his own spirit, the family either evolves or watches him from the shadow they created. This is not about revenge. This is not about coldness. This is about maturity, the rarest form of power. Maturity is not smiling at abuse. It is walking away without rage. It is not proving yourself to them. It is knowing you no longer need to. It is not screaming your truth. It is embodying it in silence even when your name is smeared. You are no longer the child who begged to be seen. You are the adult who sees through it all and stays unmoved. They wanted a reflection. You became a mirror. And now they must confront what they made and what you refused to become. Understand this. You are not here to heal the family. You are here to liberate yourself. Healing them is a choice, not a duty. And if they choose stagnation, if they cling to the old myths, let them. You do not owe anyone your regression. You were not born to be the emotional crutch of a lineage built on unspoken pain and denied truths. If your liberation feels like betrayal to them, so be it. Let them call it whatever they need to sleep at night. You will no longer trade your peace for proximity, your essence for approval. The true legacy you carry forward is not their trauma, it is your transformation. And the beauty is this: you don't even have to hate them. You can love Isa without bending. You can forgive Isa without returning. You can honor what was good and still walk away from what was never right. Because the one who heals doesn't scream. He simply no longer bleeds when touched. You are not cold, you are complete. And when they see you standing tall, firm, radiant in your truth, they will either step into the light or remain in their shadows. But their choice is no longer your responsibility. You are free, and that is sacred. And now that you are free, truly free, what will you do with that freedom? Will you use it to disappear in comfort, or will you become the living proof that it's possible to break the chain without breaking the soul? The world needs examples, not martyrs, not obedient shells, but blazing spirits who say, "It ends with me." Become that, not to inspire others, but because anything less would be a betrayal of the fire inside you. Let them watch you thrive. Let them gossip. Let them wonder how you became so unshakable. And when they ask, smile, because the answer is too sacred for words. You were not born to carry legacies of silence. You were not made to fit inside roles written by frightened people. You were forged in fire, in defiance, in solitude, to create a new language, one where love and freedom coexist, one where peace does not require self-erasure, one where presence does not mean possession. This is not rebellion. This is resurrection. The resurrection of a self that never truly died, just waited beneath the guilt, beneath the fear, beneath the "after all we've done for you." And now it rises, not asking for permission, but taking its place, gloriously, finally. If these words reached you, it means something in you was already waking up. So say it aloud, even if only to yourself. I am no longer available for my own destruction. Say it and mean it. And if this truth echoed in you, share it. Let someone else feel what you felt. Like this video, subscribe to this channel, not out of habit but as a declaration that you are done kneeling, that you are ready to rise. And right below, in your words, your city, your fire, where this truth found you. I want to know how far it traveled and how many spirits it dared to awaken.